A number of professional health worker organizations have threatened to strike after the draft law on health was passed by the Indonesian People's Representative Council on Tuesday, the 11th of July 2023. For the community, whatever the laws are, what is important about health is access to easy, wide, inexpensive and quality services. Previously, regional health officers had to receive an allocation of 5% of the state budget and 10% of the regional budget. The newly passed Health Act removed that provision. According to the Minister of Health, there is no data to prove that large allocations of funds for health are correlated with improving public health status. On the other hand, the reality shows the limited number of specialist doctors is more pressing. The newly enacted health law enforces a Certificate of Registration, STR, for domestic health workers for life. Conversely, foreign workers are subject to street restrictions for 4 years. It is hoped that this will open the door for the arrival of foreign workers in Indonesia. Meanwhile, the Indonesian Doctors Association, IDI, denied that it was complicating the issuance of a doctor's practice license, SIP, which reduced the production of doctors and resulted in a low ratio of available doctors in the country. The hegemony of health organizations is often said by the government to hinder the growth of medical specialists because of the high cost of obtaining a license to practice. However, some good news has also come from the recently passed Health Act. For example, regarding the obligation for companies to bear employee medical expenses. For patients, the obligation for health workers to deal with medical emergency situations as soon as possible is also good news. The health law threatens the heads of health facilities whose organizations are found to have neglected to handle medical emergencies with a prison sentence of 10 years. The hope is that stories of patients who were neglected and even not saved due to unfinished administrative matters and costs would not have to resurface. Although, for health workers this is one of the points to be opposed.
The Indonesian National Police purchased a Boeing 737-800 NG aircraft Friday, the 14th of July 2023, procuring the aircraft in preparation for the 2024 political year. The aircraft will also be used for the operations of members of the National Police if there is a risk of disturbance of security and public order, natural disasters and terrorism, as well as other things that have the potential to have a negative impact on ideology, politics, social, culture, defense and security in Indonesian territory. Meanwhile, if the police use civil aircraft, they must comply with civil aviation regulations. Therefore the police need airplanes for transportation in the context of supervision, transporting troops, as well as for the distribution of humanitarian aid, including the logistics of transporting goods. This aircraft is a used aircraft purchased from a company based in Dublin, Ireland, where the physical position of the aircraft is in Ostrava, Czech Republic. The budget ceiling prepared for the procurement of the aircraft is 1 trillion Indonesian rupiahs. From this ceiling, Rp 997 billion was used. Of that amount, the physical price of the aircraft is 664 billion Indonesian rupiahs. Meanwhile, as much as 331 billion Indonesian rupiahs was used for cabin or cargo modifications, maintenance spare parts for 1 year, flight insurance from the airport of origin to Indonesia, training for pilots, flight attendants and technicians, as well as preparation for assistance and procurement of operational equipment for flight crews.
The Brantas train for the Jakarta-Blitar route crashed into a truck at night in Semarang, Central Java, Tuesday, the 18th of July 2023, at 19.32. The accident started when the truck suddenly broke down on the train track. The assistant machinist immediately rushed to the back to provide information on the incident to the customer to shift to the rear of the carriage. In that incident, 626 passengers made it safely to their destination. There was only one passenger who was injured and was hospitalized because he jumped from the train during the incident. The Indonesian railroad company said that there was already a ban on passing trucks on the road. However, the truck was still reckless driving there so that it broke down and led to an accident followed by a big explosion. As a result of the collision, there were 9 passenger train trips that experienced delays.